Let's get Ron in here and talk about space. Hi, Ron.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome, Ron Livingston.
Hello.
Thank you.
How's it going, man?
Good.
All right,
Thanks
look,
for having me.
as we're sure you know, there's a big science announcement coming
There's a
at 10 a.m. They're doing a giant announcement, something about gravity. We don't know what it is,
Ron,
so we're all on the edge of our seats.
we were trying to do the show, and then Troy pulled up on the computer that there's a big gravity announcement coming at 10 a.m., and Jim has been thoroughly distracted.
That's true.
Since he found out there was a gravity announcement.
Ron, your feelings on gravity. Go.
This is going to be, I know exactly what this is going to be.
Oh, good.
What do you think?
I think it's going to be the gravitational wave detection experiment. I think they've had one confirmation on it, and this is, I think, going to be a gravitational wave event that was probably picked up on maybe by 2 or 3 different sites.
Now, gravitational wave, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, we don't know what that means.
No, we don't. Yeah, what does that mean?
Now it's going to get out of my head. Gravity propagates in waves. Is the theory.
By the way, he said right. You could have said it never propagates in waves, and he would have went right.
Right.
He just said right. He has no idea if you're right or wrong.
No, yeah, I'm checking you on
He's
this.
a phony.
Right, that's correct so far.
So I think the idea, again, this is this is a layman's understanding.
You're way
of
ahead
it.
of us already.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that you have something that's very dense and very massive, and black hole or something like that, that it's going to propagate waves out, and those waves are going to interfere with each other in a way that you're going to have little crests and little troughs in gravity. So at any point in time, I believe, and again, I could be giving bad science to the world at the moment.
Could be.
That I believe what they're detecting is a little fluctuation in the gravitational field itself, which would confirm that this is actually the way that gravity propagates
In waves.
in waves.
But they really don't know that for a fact that it moves in other. They're just now kind of going, yeah, it does move in waves.
It's one of those things because it's so it's really hard to detect. I think at that level. Electromagnetism, we always think of gravity as being this really powerful force, but it's only because, the Earth is so big that it's pulling us down that hard. Think of if it was a magnet that was that big, you know what I mean? And we were think how hard it would pull you down then. So gravity's actually, I think, the weakest of the.
When did you start learning about science?
As I was a kid.
Not you, Jim.
My grandfather was a chemistry physics teacher. In high
Oh
He
school.
my
was.
God.
Do you understand
Yeah, there's
physics?
a
I
little bit
can't
of
get.
that.
I can't. I know I look like I would understand it, but I don't.
I'm gonna have to say no. I kind of understand it in layman's terms, but I don't think the mathematical truths of it. I don't think I'm not fluent. In
Well,
that.
Neil deGrasse Tyson and I have sparred, and no, Mike. No, there's that thing. What do they call it when these two particles will react to each other, but they're further away, where the information has to travel faster than the speed of light?
Quantum entanglement.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Quantum entanglement. One does this, the one does that, and yet the information had to travel faster than the speed. So I thought this gravitational announcement was going to be something to do with the speed of light. I was incorrect.
Jim's been obsessed with the speed of light, and every time Neil deGrasse Tyson has come in here, he tries to argue with him that we will travel faster than the speed of light, and Neil deGrasse Tyson says we will not.
I know.
Yeah.
As much as I know Einstein's a bright guy,
Right.
I just don't believe that one guy on a chalkboard figured all of it out in the 30s.
Right.
I'm sorry. I just don't believe that billions of years of physics, and I don't believe that a civilization has been here for a billion years couldn't have gone beyond something
Speed
that
of
he
light.
figured out just on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to go faster than the speed of light?
I would say the way I would put it is that at current, signs say no.
Yes.
Right.
Everything points to the fact that that's just the laws of physics don't work that way. There's a speed limit.
Jim also earlier referred to the laws of physics as rules of thumb.
I do, yeah. Well, they are at this point. We have to look at it like this. When you look at it, we are going by what we have. Like what we have right now is very advanced to us. But look back at, say, what cavemen had to look at the thing.
That's true.
So we're going to look at our times right now as primitive in 1,000 years from now.
Sure.
We're going to go, those guys' equipment was shit.
Well, we're not going to look at anything in 1,000 years.
They couldn't even see the beginning of the of time. They couldn't even see the Big Bang. Now we can see that on our iPhone, whatever it is.
You think they'll still have iPhones?
No, but they'll be able to go back and watch it, sure.
Oh.
We'll figure out a way to film events of the past. You understand. All right, Ron, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
People hate when I talk science because I'm all over the place.
Well,
I really
yeah.
don't know what I'm talking about.
No, yeah,
I'm just
you're-
guessing. But I like it.
Yeah.
So your grandfather was a physicist. Did you have any desire to do anything like that, or
He
no?
was a chemistry and physics teacher, so he was a lot of things, but he was an educator. No, I didn't. I loved it. I loved studying it. I think I took a semester of physics in college, and said, yeah, I think I'm going to be an actor.
Was it too hard or just boring for you?
It was too early in the morning. It was, I think it was 8 a.m. up on Science Hill, so I was a mile and a half away. Yeah, I think I got to a place where I was like, I think I'm going to let my physics education anyway, rest for a bit.
I'll just be an actor because
I'll just be an actor.
all the science classes are first thing in the morning.
Yeah,
so.
I'll read the popular science books, and somebody can break it down to me in English.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Did you start taking acting in college?
I did. I mean, I started. I was doing like school plays in sixth grade. So yeah, I'd been acting. I think college was the first time I took an acting class, and came to the realization like, oh, I've been doing this all wrong.
Right. It's not till you go to the class that you realize like you don't know what you're doing.
I have no
You
idea.
Just make it up.
Oh, wow! There's actually there's a skill you can learn. Yeah, so I started at that point, and have been going ever since.
So your mom was a Lutheran pastor. Your father was an aerospace. So your father kind of followed, at least in the intellectual things of his dad. He became an aerospace engineer.
That was my mom's dad. My mom's
okay.
dad was a physics teacher. My dad's dad was a salesman. But yeah, no, my dad was an engineer. Recently retired. Yeah, he I think he just had that math mind, and I won't say that he enjoyed it. I'm probably he sort of gave me permission to choose any career I wanted except engineering. So
why did he want you to do it?
I think he didn't love it. He liked the work. I don't know. There was something about it. Maybe he was just grumpy.
Oh, okay. I mean, he didn't want you to be better at it. Sometimes, the father doesn't want the son to be better than what he does.
Maybe.
Or he didn't want you to do it and enjoy it.
He might have been kidding, too, but
He didn't want you to do it and enjoy it, right? Because, like, if you hate your job, it's the job, it's not me.
Yeah, you want to save your kid from the thing, even if the thing you're doing is awesome.
Or you want to save yourself from having to answer a million questions about the thing. Because then all of a sudden you're coming up, Dad, what about it? You'd be like, oh, fuck, I don't want to hear this anymore. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, the intern lives in your house now. Like, go home. The announcement's on.
Let's just chop it out of the way. Well, let's chop in here for a second.
Yeah.
And Deputy U.S. Chief Technology Officer.
Is the NSF a thing?
And Federico Farini,
National Science Foundation.
Director of the European
I tell him that. He doesn't
Gravitational Observatory. Representing the National Science.
All right, there's too many people.
It's too much.
I don't
It's
need
too
the
much.
fucking people announced.
No.
Just tell me what's happening with gravity.
Yeah, let me know.
I think you're right, though.
Is gravity still a thing?
Yeah,
does
does gravity
it still work?
exist?
Yeah, are we still... We can't fly.
No, we can't fly.
Right, okay.
It's a boring Ripple announcement. No one gives a shit.
I tried to tell you this when you first started talking about it.
I know, but I believe Ron, not you.
Oh, I see.
He has no reason to lie to me. You hate my guts.
That's true. I would mislead you.
Yes, you would. So your mom was a pastor?
Yeah, she actually, that's a second career for her. So she went to seminary about the same time that my little sister went to college. She, had raised 3 or 4 kids, and my baby brother was about 11 or 12, and I think it was something that she'd always felt a calling to, and then just gave herself permission to go and do it.
But they don't pastors don't have vows of celibacy, right? That's like priests and nuns, but pastors can have families, right?
Yeah, I think I don't think any of the Protestant orders have vows of celibacy.
So were you religious growing up?
Yeah, I would say we were raised we were raised Lutheran. Although my mom's flavor of it is it's a very liberal You know what I mean? It's a very sort of open-minded version of it.
Even as a pastor.
Yeah, especially
really interesting.
Especially as a pastor, it's really it's kind of amazing, actually. Yeah, it's amazing to see. Like I started the first couple times I went to her services. She has a very personal connection with everything, and it's like she's kind of doing a philosophical exploration for herself that's filtered through, the church, and it's so much I guess more engaging than what I grew up with, which was sometimes you get a little bit of that, but then a lot of times it was people lecturing you.
I don't know much about being Lutheran. What's the difference between that and just being like Christian? What's the big fucking the big split?
It's German. It's like Northern German. It was one of the first. It was kind of the first branch off, I think, from it was like a reformist church. Try to take the money out. I was trying to drain the swamp, get the money out of it.
Oh, okay.
There's some stern Scandinavian branches of it, but it's a fairly liberal tradition because it started as a reformist movement.
Okay, I know nothing about that.
Yeah, there's a million of them.
Do you raise your family religious now, or because you were kind of raised that you go?
I mean, I think what you do is the rule of thumb that is, I want to give my kids the tools to be able to discover and explore it for themselves. Mm-hmm. And I want to answer, like, if they ask me questions about things, I'm going to answer it as truthfully as I can, according to what I believe, while also giving the information of and that's just my 2 cents, because some people think this and some people think that, and what do you think? And I think that's the way to engender kind of a lifelong connection to it, rather than like a dogmatic,
Right.
It's kind of amazing the amount of viewpoints you must have around you, because if your mom's dad is like a physics chemistry teacher,
yeah,
and then your mom is a pastor, like those are the two opposite ends, right? You generally find that people who teach science, like all the scientists that we hear from, sort of in pop culture these days, are also have this kind of atheist undertone to them.
Yeah, you would think. I think that's maybe a more recent development. Recent meaning since Galileo. But I don't. They come from the same place, which is philosophy and trying to understand the world that we live in. And they definitely, I think, take two different paths of trying to come to that. But I think it's because they're exploring different things.
Yeah.
Science is trying to look at all the things that we can measure, and deduce everything we can about what we can measure. And I think religion is looking at everything else that we can't measure. And science would say, well, if you can't measure it, you can't say anything about it. You can't. Then you have to just say, I don't know. I can't measure it. I don't know anything. And that's absolutely true from a scientific perspective. But it means there's a whole, a bunch of other experiences of life that you don't ever get to talk about or think about. You have to come up with other terms to do it. And I think religion offers that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you found a way to do both.
Yeah. I mean, it makes
spirituality.
sense.
I would say spirituality.
So cool. when you get into acting, is like comedy what you want to do, or is it what you happen to make your first big break in?
Yeah, it was the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
I stumbled into it. It's one of those things where when I first got to L.A., you were either doing like spelling shows, if you were really good looking, you could go do the spelling shows. And if you weren't, you were trying to get a couple lines on a sitcom. Because those were the two things that in the early 90s, that's what the king of what was on TV, and that's where you were going to break in. I was never quite good looking enough to do the spelling stuff, but I couldn't buy it. I mean, I had been like a theater, a straight theater guy. And people were like, he's not funny. Well, he's not funny. There's nothing funny about him. So it's only when you get your first thing, for me it was, I think, Swingers, and then from Swingers I did a sitcom, It switches, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, he's a comedian. He can't do serious roles.
Right.
And it was a real fight to try to get something like, Band of Brothers finally broke that.
Right.
But before that, But now I'm really, so I've always tried to do a whole bunch of different things. But this one, I really, it's a comedy through and through. But that doesn't mean I don't get to bring the rest of the stuff to it. You know what I mean? Loudermilk is it's a half-hour comedy, and it's a Pete Farrelly half-hour comedy too. So it's we take the gloves off, but it's also a comedy about rehab. It's a comedy about recovery, which is that's a serious topic with a lot of stakes for some people.
And do you also do you keep in touch with Bill Burr? Because you were in town. I remember when Bill did Townies. It was a Molly Ringwald sitcom, and I'm listening it was 90s. I can't believe that was 20 years ago.
20 years ago, brother. Yeah, love that guy. I love that guy. I never see him.
You never see him?
I never see him, and it's and I always tell myself, Bill's going to be at the Laugh Factory. I got to go. I got to get I got tickets to go to the Laugh Factory, and I never do. But the great thing is that he's everywhere now. So it's like, I still get to see him, but lovely guy, man, lovely guy.
Can I ask you this? What does some folks call it a sling blade? It was a short you did. What was that?
Yeah.
Had anything to do with the film or no?
Yeah, it did. It was before Billy Bob made the movie. He made a short. And so the short is basically everything that happens in the movie up until the opening credits. It's the scene in the asylum. He gives the speech, talks about his mother, gets his papers, walks out the door, and then that's the end of the short.
And who are you in that?
I am an orderly walking outside the room that I'm an extra. Basically, I'm an extra. So I think maybe I can see myself in one of the shots. I'm not sure, but since I was there that day, they were kind enough to put me in the credits.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. Was J.T. Walsh there? Was that the speech you made to J.T. Walsh?
It was no, it wasn't. J.T. wasn't there. It was he made it to Molly Ringwald of all things. Played the nurse at the.
Are you? Oh, I thought you were joking.
No, Yeah, it was Molly Ringwald.
She wasn't in the film, though.
Was not in the film.
Okay.
No, of course, and then Billy Bob went to do the film, and recast it with people who do films rather than people who do shorts. So
that's not that great news.
But it was a very fun thing. And then when I, did the show with Molly to go, I've actually met you on the short. And she was like, okay.
You know what is great about Loudermilk? I was watching the first handful of episodes or whatever yesterday, and we're friends with Brian Regan.
Oh.
And like you wait and you wait for Brian Regan to not be Brian Regan. If you want to get Brian Regan's assessment of how to properly blow a guy for drugs, this is the show.
Yeah.
He finally gets out of Brian Regan and talks about whether to stimulate the balls or the shaft first.
Good boy.
I can't remember which side he comes down on. He's an advocate of the shaft, I think, right?
I believe, but then, look. You'll have to watch to find out.
Yeah, that's right.
Honestly, it is a tough question. I mean,
is a tough question
because you want to tease a little bit. You want to make them want more, like before they give you the drug. Like maybe they'll give you the drugs before you have to commit to the act.
Right.
Yeah.
Start with the balls.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'll take your expert advice on this.
I'll tell you something about Brian, man. We were doing a SAG panel. Brian was in there, but and Pete sort of dropped this bomb. He was like, Brian Regan, he's this probably the best stand-up comic working today, and he's never acted before. And I just about fell out of my chair because I had no idea that he had never acted before. And usually that's something that you kind of pick up when someone's never acted before. But man, no, he just dropped right into it.
I thought he had a show years ago. Maybe he didn't.
Blown away.
Yeah, he's never done anything major, really. When you find out that Peter Farrelly was obviously attached to it. When you found out about it, was that like a big thing that's like, okay, yeah, I'll do this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. It was, because right away, you go, okay, I'm working with kind of a comedy master.
Right.
At the same time, I was a little not hesitant in doing it, but I was a little like, gosh, I wonder if this is going to work, because the stuff that, I think of in my head on Pete's stuff is kind of not the stuff I'm good at. It's not the stuff I do. Like, I always try to underplay everything and make it all kind of, like that, like dry. And Pete's stuff is not dry.
Right.
So I really like the way that it kind of came together. There's a lot of both of us that's in the heart and soul of this thing.
It's got to feel good too, because like you said, like, you're able to do a comedy now, knowing that, like, you've got dramatic work on the table that's like super, people are super aware of. So it's not something where you're going to be trapped. How long after Office Space was it that you were not just getting, asshole funny guy in the office?
It was Band of Brothers, I think. So it wasn't, it was a couple of years. It wasn't too long. But, I mean, there was a minute where after Office Space, people were interested in doing a show with me, and they'd bring me in to pitch me a sitcom, and I'd say, what I'd really like to do is this, dramatic hour, and then their eyes would kind of glaze over, and they go, okay, nice to meet you, So, which of course I understand, but
how did you end up getting Band of Brothers?
Really, Meg Lieberman was the casting director on it. I had done a movie for her. And I had, back to the science thing, I'd auditioned 5 or 6 times for From the Earth to the Moon, which was Tom Hanks' series that, that she had done. Because as a kid, I kind of liked the space program, and I really wanted to go be a part of that. There was never a part for me, at least not one that I could get. But I think she just saw, she had seen me audition enough that she was like, let's give it a shot. And I happened to look like the guy. That was probably
definitely helped.
Pretty helpful.
60 to 70% of it. Yeah.
Wow.
Man, and so when Office Space like takes off like it did,
yeah,
is it kind of like mind blowing? Because I would imagine when you start this project, nobody associated is thinking like, oh, this is going to make everybody.
Yeah, it was a slow burn,
right?
It was like, okay, before it came out, it's like going up the hill at the roller coaster, click, 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 and you're going, oh my God, okay, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be, what a ride. This is going to be.
Oh, so when you're making it, you're like, this is actually really good.
And as it's getting closer to come out, and you're like, this is a studio, that's going to be, my life is going to change. And then with Office Space in particular, it's kind of like the roller coaster got to the top and then stopped,
Right.
Like it just kind of stopped because nobody went to the movie. Nobody saw it in the theaters, right? And that was it. And then we sat up at the top of the hill there for, 6-7 months, a year and a half, waiting for
you and Jennifer Aniston and Mike
waiting
Judge.
For somebody to come and get us down. And then I would say that once it started on Comedy Central, it did take off, but it was like a roller coaster that takes 3 or 4 years to actually make it around the tracks.
So how long did it take before you really saw like this is
slowly.
kind of a classic comedy now?
Years.
It was years.
Yeah, it was years. It was something really slow. It'd be something like, I like somebody at the airport spotted me that I wouldn't, like nobody's ever, wow. You know? It was kind of new like that, and yeah.
It was also when DVDs got really popular.
DVDs. It was I think one of the first. It was one of the first movies that demonstrated that the model of doing almost nothing in the theaters, but going gangbusters on DVD and cable.
Yeah.
Could generate the studios a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of, people were a little bit. Usually, if you can't open a movie, then people are like, you're kind of dead to them a little bit. But I think this one made it a little different.
Did you have any regrets? Like you said, you would go in for these meetings and you'd say you wanted to do like an hour-long kind of drama and they want to do a comedy with you. Did you kind of ever regret just going, no, I should have just kind of went with what they did?
No, I mean, no. I would say it's the other way around. The stuff I regret is where I didn't take bigger bigger risks.
Oh, okay.
Bigger chances. Now, like these days, like I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull off Loudermilk. I didn't know if this character was something that was going to work for me, with me doing it. And 20 years ago, I might not have taken it because I was a little more kind of, I have to know, I was in my head a little bit. I have to know in my head how I'm going to say these lines, and I have to guarantee that it's going to be funny, or otherwise I don't want to do it. And so I look back on a lot of jobs that I think, maybe I could have gone after that one, or I could have said yes to that if it probably would have tanked, or it could have been terrible. But there's a real freedom that comes after you've made a couple of terrible things, and you realize the world doesn't end.
Right, you've survived. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you're like, well, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
We just made a terrible movie. That's
What's a risk that you could have taken but didn't? Like, what's one that you look back on and go, I really should have done that one?
Well, I never really bit off the thing of like developing material. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm trying to remember of a specific thing. They tend to be the things that you like shy away from and don't even go after. So it's not even the stuff that you get close on, To get close on it, you have to
pursue it.
Yeah, pursue it and be going after it. But yeah.
Will you actively seek out stuff now, or do they come to you and go, look, we have an offer for you? Or is there something you'll hear about and you go, fuck it, I want to do that, and please get me in for it?
Both. I have reps who are constantly pitching me to, for jobs that no one's ever going to give me, because because maybe someday they will.
Sure.
And they're also fielding like a lot of offers on stuff that I'm probably never going to do. So it's really about finding something in the sweet spot that where it's like you're excited about it, and then oh my God, who could think that they're excited about it on the other side too? And now all of a sudden we're doing it.
Have you asked to go in on anything like, I know I'll be good at this, and all of a sudden you shit the bed?
Oh, all the time. I mean, yeah, all the time.
Still worse.
I actually have a. I auditioned for, and now because you self-tape now a little bit.
Yes.
You have to put yourself on tape and just.
Do you do it with your iPhone?
Email it in. I do it. I do it with my iPhone. I used to do it with a little flip video camera, but now it's just easier to do it with the iPhone. Or I have a DLSR that but it's so I don't know how to use it very well, so I stick to the iPhone generally. But I auditioned for the clown in It. For Pennywise, right? And I had to self-tape that at home. And, and the thing I was like, well, I guess I have to go for it because I don't know. I feel like an idiot standing here, like being a scary clown, unless I look like a scary clown. So I've got this video of me in my basement, in like clown makeup. With a fright wig on or whatever, doing like the Pennywise scene.
What did the voice sound like?
He was a little bit like that. It had a little Bill Murray in it. It's something that
but he's more like an old man.
Yeah, it was like it's just a pervy old man that was a predator. It was. I'm sure they looked at it and were like, okay.
Well, how was the makeup? What did you do with the makeup? Was it obviously different than his? What did you do with it?
It was a little scary. Yeah, it was more in the realm of scary mime. Almost.
Okay.
It was a little bit like scary mime clown rather than scary Ringling Brothers clown.
Have you thought about putting it out on YouTube just because?
Yes.
It goes crazy.
I don't think. I think there's a trademark issue where you're not supposed to do that. So I don't think I can.
I really want to see
I don't know who would get mad though. The movie's already a hit. All you do is saying Ron Livingston as Pennywise audition. That's not going to hurt the movie. People are like, I got to see this. They'll talk about the movie again.
You could almost be like, no, it's a skit. I didn't really audition. Are you crazy? You think?
Do you think I would have handed this piece of shit into a studio?
It's a satire on the thing.
So then, when you see It, right, and you see Pennywise, it couldn't be more different from the thing that you did in your audition. Does it make you feel?
Oh, I'm not going to go see that. Are you kidding?
Yeah, why would you?
Screw those guys, man. They had their chance to get me in there.
Right, to get the real Pennywise.
Yeah, they lost the Ron Livingston dollars.
But when you find out that the choice that they made was completely different than what you did, Does that feel better or worse?
It feels great. It's always great. You know, it's everybody's got the experience of like, oh man, I almost had this part and then somebody did it and it turned out to be a great thing. But and if I'd have done it, then I'd be the one that got to do that great thing. But you forget the part where it's like, except I might have actually sucked in it, which is maybe why I didn't get it or want it in the first place.
Right.
You know what I mean? So to me, if somebody does something good, it only gives me hope that it's possible to like do something good in a performance. Because you know, every once in a while you start to think, we all suck, you know, and then somebody comes in and just blows you out of the water, and you get hyped up about, wow, okay, I'm
because that's possible.
Because that's possible.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's really kind of bringing their A game in it, and
you just have to be
raises the bar.
You have to be out of your. You have to have enough self-esteem to look at that and not go like, oh, that's possible. That means I just suck. As opposed to being like, oh, that's possible. That means I can get there.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know if this is stuff that I came to, or just people who don't feel that way have to get out of the business because it would make them crazy otherwise. But I've always been somebody that if I'm up for a job and I don't get it, I'm like, okay, so I guess I got the month off. You know,
right?
All right.
Well, you can just relax.
That works. I'll let me know when you get the next one.
What kind of wig did you wear?
I had I'm trying to remember. It was like a purple. I had a couple of them that I auditioned. One was like like a purple rainbowy thing, and then one, I don't remember. I'd have to go and look at it again because I can't remember which one I picked. I tried them both, and I don't remember which one I actually sent.
How did you say we all float?
We all float down here.
Oh, you'll float. Yeah, it was. You'll float.
I like it.
Yeah,
I'm frightened.
There you go.
I am too.
It's creepy.
What did you do in Boardwalk?
In a Bill Murray kind of way.
I've seen Boardwalk Empire. Who did you play in Boardwalk Empire?
I played a guy named Roy. I played basically a Pinkerton detective that sets up Gretchen Mol to elicit her confession.
Was that season 4 or 5?
Oh, I want to say
one of the final seasons.
It was second to the last season, I think.
Was there 6 seasons?
6 or 7.
There was that many Boardwalk Empire seasons?
Oh yeah,
something like that.
They either did 8, and I was on season 7, or they
7,
did
and you were on
6.
I
think it's 7.
I meant
6,
next to last to last. I didn't realize it was that many. Jesus.
Yeah. Now, is that because like you do Band of Brothers? Is there like, does HBO tend to hire the same groups? Like once you're involved and do well on one HBO show, is there a lot of potential for other stuff?
It's a corporate thing. Like once somebody else in the company has taken the risk of hiring somebody, you're on a list that if someone else hires you now and it all falls apart, they can go, well, but Bob hired him on such and such,
That's right.
and he was great.
Yeah.
So and
right, so you can.
So it's a decision someone's probably not going to get fired for.
It is funny how they do think that, where people want to make sure that the decision has kind of been made, so they're not the one that's going to take the heat for it.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's 25% is he good for the role, and 75% is my ass going to be covered.
Will
on
I
this?
get fucked when this doesn't work?
What is the likelihood that I will be fired because of this particular decision? And they got to make those decisions all day long. So you got to be conservative.
Have you had primarily good relationships with directors and people you've worked with? I mean, you always hear the horror stories about the one or two.
I think so. You know what I mean? If I haven't, I've been clueless to it. They may be like going, "Oh, Jesus, that guy." But I've always I like directors. I like people who, I like people who do this. I like people that get excited about this goofy, this goofy little thing.
Yeah.
There's something. It's just like a fellow nerd of a particular flavor. So I love it.
I think that like some of the best stuff, like I feel like Office Space and Boardwalk and Band of Brothers and probably some of the other stuff I'm forgetting. The thing that they have in common is that they're all like super authentic to the world that they're portrayed in. Like even Office Space, which is just a goofy comedy, like it wouldn't work if it wasn't super authentic office humor. How quickly on a project do you realize like this is not authentic to this world? Can you see that in the script? Is it once you get on the set? Is it not till the movie gets made?
Usually you see that in the script.
Yeah.
Like if the script is bad, it's really hard to make a good movie. Like if you're reading a script and you're like, well, no, people don't talk. They don't just say that. They don't talk like that. If on the page people sound like people,
right,
talking to each other in a way that people talk to each other, it's just a great start because those are the lines you're going to be saying. But it also says that, okay, so whoever greenlit this has good taste as far as that goes. And whoever is directing it and signed on to it, that must be the kind of stuff they want to do. And it's hard for me to get hired on other stuff, I think, because, because I had this sort of like really laid back, slacker, low energy thing that if they wanted the guy that was going to come in and be like, hey, doing the thing, even when I tried to do that, it doesn't
feel right.
I wouldn't get hired. Yeah, they were like, yeah, we're not going to hire that guy for that.